What's going down? This be your man, L-O-C-O-M-O-T-I-O-N, Locomotion. We're having a little bit of change of scenery here today. We're out of the studio and we're in my living room. We're shooting on the DJI Pocket 3, and hopefully this will be a little bit of a different experience for you. Maybe a little natural light is going to be nice, right? So, anywho, today's topic is the extraction of Nicolas Maduro and his wife. I won't call it quite an invasion because we didn't really technically invade the country. We didn't put boots on the ground and, take over all their, structures, but we did capture the head of their state, who was there illegally because somebody else won the election and he said, F it, I'm not going, and stayed anyway. So he was there. He was not there legally, but there's so many levels to this, and I'm going to keep it somewhat brief. I don't want to take all day, right? So there's an international level. First of all, international law is BS. It doesn't apply to the United States, doesn't apply to Russia, doesn't apply to China. If we want to break international law, who's going to hold us accountable? The UN? What is the UN without the United States? It's not happening. We do this all the time, and there's never any consequence for the United States. There's no one on earth that's going to hold us accountable. So let's just get that out the way. So whether it was legal or not doesn't matter, because without an enforcement mechanism, a law is not really a law if you can't enforce it. So there's that. Number two, next, what are we trying to do here? There's a lot of things we're trying to do as the United States, at least this administration. We're trying to undermine China, undermine Russia. We're trying to take control of the oil and mass produce it, make it more efficient, because right now they're only pumping out very little of the oil that they actually could. And if we can reduce prices, if we can get prices to $2 a gallon in the United States, that's going to reduce the cost of everything in the United States, for moving goods, for services, for everything, for construction. All these things will be reduced. And also, if we can bring down the prices per barrel, we can undermine Russia because they benefit by having their prices a barrel high. That way they can still sustain the war with Ukraine. Whereas if we can lower the prices, we can undermine Russia. Also, we can stop the supply of oil secretly from Venezuela to China to stall them out. So to make the invasion of Taiwan, kick the can down the road a little bit longer. So we're trying to stall out China a bit. Also, we're sending a message to Mexico, to Cuba, to Colombia, to all of the countries that Trump has been threatening, saying, F around and find out. Like, keep it up. So, it's looking dark for some of these cartels. I think they're going to be in real big trouble in the next year or so. Also, on the domestic front, I think what he did was legal. I think there's precedent for this when we charged Manuel Noriega in Nicaragua back during the Bush Senior administration. And on top of that, not only is there precedent with that, there's basically the Congress, ever since 9/11, has ceded its authority to the executive branch when it comes to these military actions. Not technically declaring war, but basically the president doesn't need the Congress's approval to do limited military actions. He has, I think, 60 days if he wants to have a protracted conflict. Then he needs to get approval of Congress. So if we just want to go, charging and indicting people and then extracting them, we can do that through the executive branch. So that's fine. There's no real legal question there. And now, what is going to be the fallout? So it's unknown. We really don't know what the cessation of power is going to be in Venezuela. We're just going to hand it over to the guy who won the election, or do they have to have new elections? And maybe that Machado lady will win, potentially, if she runs, or maybe she'll serve in some other capacity. It's unclear. They say that Maduro was a narco-terrorist, so that means there must be cartels there. We've done nothing to take out the cartels. Are we going to take out the cartels? Who's going to do it? Is it going to be our military? Is it going to be Venezuela's military, how is that going to work? So I don't know. And we removed Maduro. We didn't remove the vice president, anybody in his cabinet, any administration. So it's still the Maduro administration, just without him. So what do we do about that? Do we just kick them all out, or do we keep some? And it's going to be tricky. Politically, do I think this helps or hurts the Trump administration? I think it's overall going to help if we don't get into a quagmire. Americans hate long, protracted, decades-long conflict that costs trillions of dollars and gains the average citizen nothing. So if we can keep this kind of like, charge him, try him, or jail him, and let Venezuela sort out, their own future, and we control the oil, I think it's largely going to be good for the American folk and the public opinion of the administration, because the administration is frankly not doing very well with the economy. Inflation is still high. There's still a housing crisis. Young people can't afford to buy a home. Old people can't afford to buy a home. No one can afford to buy a dang home, right? And so, we still have the Epstein files that no one believes are really released, and they're never going to be really released, right? So this is another thing that kind of distracts, wag the dog, type strategy with these military conflicts, because coming up will be the midterms, and more than likely the Democrats will lose the midterms, right? Will win, sorry. They will win the midterms, probably slightly, and then the president will be a lame duck, right? So he won't be able to really pass any legislation for the rest of his presidency. So what can he do? He can do executive orders, and he can do limited military action. So more than likely, this will be the strategy for the next, few years until he's out of office. He's going to be cleaning up, with his Don Roe doctrine. Instead of the Monroe doctrine, James Monroe, it's Don Roe doctrine. Basically, he's going to be picking fights with cartels and heads of state in Latin America, in the Western Hemisphere, because that's something that is within his purview as in the executive branch. So I don't want to keep this too long. This is just my analysis, and I hope you appreciate it and you like it, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.